What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Independent Experience. I'm IndyXP, and this is your morning market wake-up call for Thursday, June 18th, 2020. We've got a sensitive topic that we're going to be discussing later in the video. But let's go ahead and jump into the markets and see where we're going to be starting the day off at. Gold is steady, currently at $17.21 even. Silver is down slightly, currently at $17.52, giving us a ratio of 98.03. I had the wrong app pulled up. Sorry about that. Platinum is steady, currently at $827.97, and palladium is down, currently at $1988.70. In other metals markets, rhodium is down $200, currently at $8,300. Copper was down. It had actually dropped a few cents yesterday. It is back up, starting to rally some more, currently at $2.63. Aluminum is up 1 penny at 71 cents. And uranium is also up, currently at $32.85. Barrels of crude oil also steady. We're coming up on the July futures contracts. Are coming due tomorrow, I believe, and they are up slightly, currently at $38.22 a barrel. Yesterday on Wall Street, we had a mixed day. We were up and down pretty much all day, but it's pretty steady all day. The Dow was down only 170 points, closing out the day at 11961. The Nasdaq was up 14 points, closing out the day at 9910.53, and the S&P 500 was down 11 points, closing out at 3113.49. If you guys trade in Bitcoin, those are steady, currently at 94.2398, and if you guys happen to be a fan of the gold back, those are currently at $3 even. As I stated at the beginning of the video, we are going to be discussing a rather sensitive topic in today. This is an article from Market Watch by Elizabeth Buchwald. It came out early this morning. Actually, just here, looks like just in the last half an hour or so. This is titled, "With Aunt Jemima, Mrs. Butterworth's, and Uncle Ben set to disappear from American kitchens, a look back at their racist origins." Says, for 131 years, Aunt Jemima's syrup and pancake mix have been a breakfast staple in American homes. But behind the smiling face featured predominantly on these packages is the history of slavery and African American oppression. In the wake of international protests over the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and Rayshard Brooks, PepsiCo announced Wednesday that it would remove the image of Aunt Jemima from its packages and change its name of the brand, acknowledging its racist origins. On Wednesday afternoon, Mrs. Butterworth's announced it would begin a complete brand and packaging review of the Mrs. Butterworth's line, according to a statement made by its parent company, ConAgra Brands. The Mrs. Butterworth brand, including its syrup packaging, is intended to invoke the images of a loving grandmother, it stated. "We stand in solidarity with our black and brown communities, and we can see that our packaging may be interpreted in a way that is wholly inconsistent with our values." Also Wednesday, Cream of Wheat announced an immediate review of the Cream of Wheat brand packaging. "We understand that there are concerns regarding the chef image, and we are committed to evaluating our packaging and will proactively take steps to ensure that we and our brands do not inadvertently contribute to systematic racism," it was said in a statement. B&G Foods unequivocally stands against prejudice and injustice of any kind. Another brand coming up. Here we go. Quaker Foods North America stopped short of using the word racist in its official statement. We recognize Aunt Jemima's origin and based on a racial stereotype, said Kristen Krefl, Kroepfl. You can butcher that one in your own leisure. The vice president of chief marketing officer for the company. While work has been done over the years to update the brand in a manner intended to be appropriate and respectful, we realize those changes are not enough. Kerfuffle added, we acknowledge the brand has not progressed enough to appropriately reflect the confidence, warmth, and dignity that we would like to have stand for today. We're starting by removing the image and changing the name. Well, that's the end. That's all you have to do. This article makes my head hurt. I'm going to force on. We're going to forge on here. We will continue the conversation by gathering diverse perspectives from both our organization and the Black community, to further evolve the brand and make it one everyone can be proud to have in their pantry. Hours later, another company, Mars Incorporated, the parent company of Uncle Ben's Rice, said it would be evolving its visual brand identity. As we listen to the voice of consumers, especially in the Black community, and to the voices of our associates worldwide, we recognize that now is the right time to evolve the Uncle Ben's brand, including its visual brand identity, which we will do. Caroline Sherman, a Mars spokeswoman, said. PepsiCo's elimination of the Aunt Jemima character is long overdue, said David Pilgrim, the director of the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Memorabilia at Ferris State University in Big Rapids, Michigan. I did not know there was such a museum. It seems that's a weird place. The museum features Pilgrim's own collection of over 2,000 racist artifacts, including whites-only signs, commemorative postcards of lynchings, and an entire section dedicated to mammy characters. Dating back to slavery through the Jim Crow era, white Southerners, in an effort to justify having slaves, designed propaganda that displayed Black women in particular as happy and filled with laughter as evidence of the supposed humanity of the institution of slavery, Pilgrim stated in an online blog post. The caricature portrayed an obese, coarse, maternal figure. She had great love for her white family, but often treated her own family with disdain. Although she had children, sometimes many, she was completely desexualized. She belonged to a white family, though it was rarely stated. One of the most well-known mammy figures is Aunt Jemima, a fictional character that the brand is based on. Aunt Jemima's character was the product of white imagination and the minstrel shows of the 19th century America, says Gregory Smithers, a history professor of Virginia Commonwealth University. Aunt Jemima was also part of the blackface tradition that, in the decades after the Civil War, harkened back to a simpler time of plantations and quote-unquote happy slaves. In the late 19th century, marketing agencies began to commodify racism to make a profit. Smithers, who co-authored the book Racism in American Popular Media, from Aunt Jemima to the Frito Bandito. We haven't talked about the Frito Bandito. He's still around. Let's see. That dynamic harkened back to... Oh, we just read that one. Okay. The brand model featured on Aunt Jemima products was replaced 2 times, once in 1933 with Anna Robinson, a heavier and darker in complexion model than Nancy Green, a slave from Kentucky, who was the original Aunt Jemima brand figure. After Robinson came Edith Wilson in the 1960s, who played Aunt Jemima on TV and radio shows. Wilson has remained on Aunt Jemima products to the current day. Through the recent years, has been given a makeover, her skin lightened, and the handkerchief has been removed from her head. She has now been made to have the appearance of an attractive maid, not a Jim Crow era mammy, Pilgrim wrote. Aunt Jemima, like other mammy representations, portrays African American women as one-dimensional servants, Pilgrim, a former sociology professor, told MarketWatch. Despite this, many Americans nostalgically associate her with fond, familiar memories. For me, I see the vestiges of enslavement and segregation, said Pilgrim, who is black and grew up in Mobile, Alabama. And he first began collecting racist artifacts at age 12. Any object that reduces African Americans to a caricature with accompanying stereotypes is problematic, he said. That applies to Uncle Ben's rice, Mrs. Butterworth's, and cream of wheat, which have similar racist connotations to Aunt Jemima. The black figures featured on the products are carryovers from the ugly days when black people were relegated to servant roles, Pilgrim said. There is nothing inherently wrong with serving others, but when those were the dominant images of black people, it was easier to dismiss African Americans as real people. Again, that was an article from Elizabeth Buchwald from MarketWatch. So this all came about just here in the last 36 hours. And we didn't discuss, but it was listed in the article, the stock prices for these companies that we discussed, ConAgra, PepsiCo, and B&G. Those stock prices were mixed yesterday, but there was no groundbreaking drop or earth-shattering climb in their stock prices. These are fruitless PR grabs for them. And, I think what you will see, and this is coming from me personally, before we get too much further down this rabbit hole, if you guys want to leave racist comments, that's fine. I will delete them, but go ahead and voice your opinion. I'm going to come back and just follow you and just delete them. This is not meant to be a racist platform. I'm here to give my opinion of what I'm going to be thinking. I think we're going to see in the future. I think what we'll see is down the road, maybe next year, the year after, here in the next 10 years, you're going to see companies that are going to be afraid to use African American imaging. And there will then become outcry in the African American communities about why there aren't any wholesome advertising logos and characters representing African Americans. Why aren't there? Why is everything advertised by white people for white people? And it's going to happen, guys. I think that's where we're going to be. Is you're going to see a shift. And all these companies are going to dump their African American logos and characters that people have associated with their companies for years, and then all of a sudden there's going to be an outcry because there are no more African American characters used in logos, and it's all been whitewashed. It's all, I don't know. I just think that's where we're going to go, and then that's going to be a whole other thing that's going to open up. I don't know where it's going to go. Be interested to know what you guys think on the topic, though. If you would, go ahead and comment down below. Again, racist comments will be promptly deleted, and I will probably shame you on my next video. Guys, I do greatly appreciate every single one of you. And if you happen to appreciate old Indie XP, why don't you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me right there. Helps me out immensely. If you happen to be new to the independent experience and you want to keep up to date on all great content as it comes out, go ahead and smash that subscribe and jingle jangle bell right there in the corner, bing bong, so you can be notified of when new content's coming out. If you want to catch up on some other content, I'm going to post that card right there. It goes to the latest and greatest video that I've put out. I've been Indie XP from the Independent Experience, and I'm here again to remind you, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find your pockets heavy.